Hey, gun people, let's talk about Hillary Clinton's email server. I'm going to give you a quick down and dirty. Somebody that knows computers better than me is probably going to think this is really elementary and kind of wrong in some areas, but I'm going to try and I worked computer crimes for a while, so I know a little bit about computers. I don't know everything, and it changes so rapidly and technology goes so quick. A lot of things that I knew and used when I was doing computer forensics have probably changed. But I'm going to give you a down and dirty about why Hillary's emails are in the news right now, and are they deleted? Are there copies? Was there classified information? So let me get you started a little bit with what a hard drive is, and kind of a this is a hard drive basically. So if you open up one of your hard drives, this is a hard drive. They have new solid state hard drives, which are basically flash drives, and this is a little flash drive. You plug this in. They call these a little flash drive. There's no moving parts in here. This has a moving wheel. So the old hard drives has this wheel that spins around, and this little reader here that moves back and forth and reads and searches, and every time you hit a key and you're looking for something or searching, or you tell it to find something, or you pull something on the internet, it's looking in your cache to find if there's already a file of that picture. So this little thing is jumping around and moving all the time, which is why they wear out, which is why the solid state drives are much more expensive. So I'm going to be kind of basically referring to this because this is what most people use. Most people don't use what's called a flash drive, your non-moving parts drive, for their hard drive. They're very expensive. They make them now, but most people aren't using them. And most of your servers aren't using them either. Your services have hard drives because once this is full, I can pull this thing out and put another one in and then save this and store it. So if I was doing a forensics on a computer and I went to see some guy's computer, what we would do is we would pull off the hard drive, this part right here, we would hook it up to our reader, and we would make an exact copy of that hard drive. And then we wouldn't touch this hard drive. This would be what's called the master, or the best evidence, because that's exactly what we pulled out, and we don't want to modify it at all. So we would use, and I would search the hard drive that I made a copy of, and it's called a mirror. So basically I would mirror this hard drive, put this away and secure it, and then work on the one that I mirrored. So I would search it for problems, dates, what they searched, who they Googled, what websites they went to, what images they saved, which ones they deleted, undelete, and all that. And I'm going to get into undelete here. So this little wheel right here, the spinning part, this kind of just like a little better diagram of it maybe. This little arm right here goes back and forth, and it reads and writes. So when you erase something or tell your computer to do something and it saves it, this little thing right here moves back and forth, so it writes all over the whole disk here. Okay? And these are different, kind of like, if you want to look at them as like if you put in a DVD disc, these are like multiple DVD discs. So they stack them. And then they clusters and sectors. One little square is a sector. 3 or 4 sectors is a cluster. And then a track is what goes all the way around. So each of these tracks are numbered 1, 2, 3. And all that's kind of not real relevant to what I'm talking about. This is kind of what you call a server. They keep talking about a server, and I don't know how many people know what a server is. To me, the simplest way to describe a server is it's a big storage facility. Your computer is kind of like a server. It has a hard drive, and it saves everything you do on your computer. What a server does is it saves everything that goes through it. So anytime you enter or receive information from the internet, send an email, receive an email, it goes through a server, and then copies are made. So this is what's called a server, and basically these are a bunch of those hard drives that I just showed you. So, and this is a really small server. This is kind of like a home server, and then you get the larger servers to where there's all kind of huge ones, and I didn't put one up here. And if you want to do all this, when you Google something, if you just hit images instead of web, Google normally will send you right here to web. But if you hit images and search anything, Google will bring up just images of that item. So if you want to Google servers or hard drives or anything, switch to images, move from, instead of, see if I go to web, it's just going to give me a list of websites. And that's what most people see as Google. But if you go to images, then all it gives you is images of whatever you're searching. So if you want to know what a server is and all that, you can go to that. And this is DOS, and we'll get into this. So let me get back to one of these little things here. Oh, you know what? I think I have a better diagram. I do. Resume. So what's happening here is I did what's called a defrag, and I'm not sure why it's I don't want this one defragged. I want this one. So I paused it, and for some reason it hell, I'm gonna have to reopen this. Sorry, because that was a good little diagram here. So I'm gonna open up this program here, go to my defrag this. Now we were talking about little sectors. See all these little yellow things and these white spots? These are basically what's little sectors. And that white right there is what's considered an unused sector. And now it's changed to where it's green, and it has a little diagram down here on what each color is. Free space is white, blue's folder, green's file. So I have a lot of files on my hard drive. And right now it is moving these files. And I'm going to pause this. So what happens when you erase a file is, you see this white area here, that's probably a file that I erased. So the computer is saying right now, this is open space and you can write here. But whatever was there that I erased is still there. Because when you delete something, it only changes the little, I forgot what it's called, a pointer or something at the front of the end of the file. It changes it and basically says, this isn't saved, this is considered open space. Now all these little green dots here are areas that I've actually got something saved. So it's still on a hard drive, and this is still on a hard drive. But my computer only sees this, so if I search for a file, it's not going to find this white space, even though there's a file there. Because the little pointer said this is open space now, because I deleted something. But the file is still there. So in order to do that, you put a recovery program, it reassigns the pointer, and then your image comes up, or your document comes up, or whatever you erase come up, your video, etc. So that's how you find things. So this right here is just one of a defrag program, and what it's going to do is on this defrag, it's going to move all these open areas, because when you send some sort of search, or when you look for something on your computer, it has to go through all these little things in a row to get to it. So if I'm looking for a file that's over here, it's got to go through all these. It's going to hit these blank spaces before it gets to this. Now, when you do a defrag, if something down here is something that I use a lot, the computer will move that to the front and says, hey, he uses this a lot, so when he searches it, we want to find it earlier. And that's why it's important to defrag your computer. What defrag also does is it covers up these blank areas. Well, remember when we talked about the file is still there even though it's blank, until it's written over. So as this thing starts moving different files, and you see it's taking some pink there, and that's probably because it's about to move it. We got yellow. I'm trying to see, I don't see a whole bunch of movement here. But basically it's going to line up and fill all these spaces in. So when you run defrag, anything that you've deleted, defrag will move stuff over that area. So all these little white spaces here are going to be covered up with new information. So that means whatever was there is now covered up. Now some people think that's deleted, but it's not. You can go back and recover it. And so in order to delete something, you need to, one, make it to where the computer sees that it's writable now, it's not there. Then you need to write something over that. And even then you can pull it. There's things out there when I was working that they could pull 6 and 7 times. I could write over this 6 or 7 times, and the computers that we were using, the forensic examiner software, would pull it. Now it just changed a whole bunch of stuff there because it's going to start moving and writing things. And you see how it's kind of well, this thing doesn't move real quick. So it's not being a very good little tutorial. But anyway, so all this white space here is going to be data, and all this is going to be moved up and fill that in. Because right now, when my computer is looking for something, it's going data, 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 blank, 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 data, 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 blank, 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 data, data, data. Oh, here's the stuff we're looking for. Okay, that's what he's looking for, and then it loads it. So that's why it takes a while. The more you can remove all the blank spaces, the quicker your computer runs, which is why running defrag helps your computer run quicker. It makes it easier for the computer to find information. It also covers up anything that you've erased. So it makes it harder for somebody to recover it, but it doesn't mean it's deleted. There was an OSI case when I was in the Air Force where the knucklehead, the two OSI agents brought in the disc, the actual disc that they caught some dude, and I can't remember if it was a child porn or what it was, but it was a breaking case because they end up getting data. They showed him the disc and said, hey, here's the disc that we found and it's got your evidence on it and we pulled it from your computer. And they left the room. Well, Knucklehead grabs that disc and starts breaking it up. He throws it on the ground, he stomps on it, and destroys the evidence. Well, I mean, that's pretty smart on his part, pretty dumb on the OSI for giving him the disc. But that was record-breaking technology because what somebody did when they sent it, and I can't remember who did it, FBI or one of the forensic top places did it, some guy sat there and took all those little pieces and tried to put the disc back together. And the pieces that were missing, he took another disc and broke it and kind of cut the same pieces that were missing and just replaced it. And then glued the disc together and they ran it and they got data and they were able to recover evidence from that disc after he broke it. So there's all kind of things out there about when do you want to, how do you delete something? How do you get rid of something? Well, I run disk cleanup, and disk cleanup will erase a lot of files. So right now, my disk cleanup is telling me that I have 4.4 megabytes of temporary internet files. And that number gets really quick fast. The more you surf the net, the more it gets. Because every time you load a page on the internet, every image that you see, every advertisement, everything that you see on your computer is now saved on your hard drive. And it's saved in temporary internet files. So when I go back to the same site, what happens is the computer finds those images much quicker. It doesn't have to download it and save it again because they're already on the computer. So it pulls it up quicker. So having temporary internet files make you able to search and get quicker response when you go to a website. The problem is every website, every image that you ever went to is stored on your computer. And if you don't ever clear this, it starts bogging down. It becomes so big and cumbersome to search through all that to pull up information that your computer slows down. So I run disk cleanup every once in a while. You notice under cycle bin it says I got 11.2 megabytes, but the box isn't checked. So I'm going to check that box. Here it says I got 79 megabyte of something here. I don't know what the hell it is. Retail demo. So that's just going to be deleted. I'm deleting that. Put a check there. I got some temporary files. Any temporary files, when you download a system or you put new files in there, they put temporary files in there so the computer kind of knows what to go in and accesses these files. But they're not needed. So I always delete my temporary files, and that number can get very quick. It's only got 3.1 or 3.16 megabytes. So I'm going to go ahead and check that because I'm going to get rid of those. Thumbnails, those are thumbnails, the little image you see when you pull up, you know, your icons or whatever. If I go here, all these are thumbnails. All these little things right here are thumbnails. So those are what you call thumbnails. So I'm going to delete all those. Now when I delete all those, there's 52 megabytes. So it's saying I could save 150 megabytes worth of stuff by deleting all this. So I'm going to click OK. And it's going to erase all these. Okay, so it's deleted those files. Now remember we talked about? Are those files gone? No. What this is doing is it's merely changing that pointer to all those files that I just deleted and said this space is now available. So now I have a bunch of space in here and a bunch of gaps in my hard drive that we talked about earlier. I already deleted it. So that makes it to where the information is still there, but it's not deleted. It just shows my space. So even though your computer may say you have 10 megabytes of space, and you look at it and it looks like, man, this thing's half full. And I've only got 10 megabytes. How come it's only showing half full? because a lot of the stuff is deleted and is showing as empty, although it's still there. So what happened with Hillary's emails is all these emails are saved on these servers. And these servers have backups, because if there's an electrical damage, or if your server goes down, or somebody spills water on it, or there's a leak, and your server is destroyed, then all your information that's went through that server also gets destroyed and damaged. So most servers have backup servers. Just like you back up your disk on your computer, or you should, servers back up. So there's some information out there, and Hillary, now what I didn't get into here is a DOS prompt, and I'm going to go to a command prompt here. So this is how you get to a command prompt. I'm going to go to command prompt, and now it's going to open me up a command prompt here, and this puts me in DOS. And the reason why I wanted to cover DOS is I had a picture of a DOS. Here we go. You notice this says right here, security. This is in a DOS mode. Security level medium, 3 passes. See that 3 passes? What happens when somebody wipes a disk and they want to make sure their information is destroyed? They erase everything, so they remove the pointer, but the information is still there. Then they rewrite over that information, so now it's been written over, so it's not real easy to pull it back up. And then some will put several passes of rewriting. This is a medium security, so it passes 3 times over the same information. It puts 3 layers of information on top of the thing you deleted. Now that's not that great security, and I think in the military, when you're handling secret or top secret information, I think the minimum of either 7 or 10 wipes. And what happens when you do a wipe, and there's programs out there that do it, is it actually writes 1s and 0s over every sector out there. So it writes 1s and 0, it goes through the whole thing. Then when it comes back, it starts over, it writes 1s and 0s again, or 0s and 1s, or 0, 0, 1, or 1, 1, 0. And it does that the second time. Then it changes it and does it the third time. Then it changes. So for military, for handling classified information, I think the minimum is 7 to 10 passes from an encryption, or from a disk wipe. Now, when you get into encryption, and I don't know if her server was encrypted or not, it probably should have been. Most secure emails are encrypted. Encryption is basically, it scrambles it when you send it, and then it takes a special key for the other person to open it. And if that person doesn't have that right key, and the key is a bunch of letters, I mean, this right here could be a key. Let's say the key is RCMPTSSIT. If you don't have that exact key, when you receive this email, you can't open it. The information stays scrambled. And there's higher levels of encryption, and there's higher levels of scrambling. But if her stuff was scrambled, it's going to be harder to recover, because not only do you have to recover it, you've got to have the key for the encryption once you recover it in order to read it. So, and of course, there's forensics out there that will unscramble encryption depending on the level of encryption. There's a lot of encryption that you can't, you can even buy it Best Buy, and you can't even leave the States with it. You can't even bring it on a plane if you're going out of the country, because the level of encryption is so high and they don't want it, compromised. Although any idiot knows you can walk across the border illegally and buy it and then send it or bring it back across the border and get it anywhere you want. But, whatever. So this is a DOS program. If you don't mess around with DOS, or you don't know DOS, people are kind of intimidated by it. I don't mind it. The first thing you want to type when you get into DOS is help. And it will basically give you all, if you type it right, it will give you all the commands. So these are basically all the commands. So if I type any of these things, it gives me the command, and then it tells me what the command will do. So if I do a dir, that's a directory, that displays a list of files and subdirectories. So if I come down here to this and I type dir, if my fingers are in the right spot. So this is basically my directory. So it tells me, when it was created, etc. If I type ver, which is version, that will tell me what type of Windows I have. So if I come over here and type ver, it tells me I have Microsoft Windows version 10. So DOS, and again, to get to all the DOS commands, all you gotta do is type help, and it gives you all the commands. So if you want to play with that, you don't want to play with it too much because this gives you direct access and you can kind of go behind the scenes and do some things. So I just cleared the screen. If I do a tree, because I want to see what my tree looks like, it will give me a tree of what my tree is. So this is all my files and folders. And so basically it starts off up here with my tree. Goes to thumbnails. I got a backup. I got training videos. I've got an old drive file. These are all folders. I've got horse photos folder. I got a parade. I got scanned documents. So these are basically all my folders I have in my tree. So, and these are music, iTunes, etc. And if I want to find out where something was at or search it, you need to be able to get to the tree in order to find out what your path is. But that's in a DOS. But the reason why I wanted to get in a DOS, because when I showed you this folder right here, and it says, if you get an encryption, it says 3 passes, security level 1, medium 3 passes. What that is if she's written over her computer. So did she write over that? Did she write over her server? And did the server backup get written over? Because in the news they're saying there may be a backup server. They've got the server now. Now obviously she wanted her stuff deleted. When you delete half of your emails, I mean 30,000 emails and you only turn over 30,000, obviously she deleted a lot of stuff she didn't want people to see. So I'm sure she ran some pretty high-tech encryption, disk wipe. I mean, the government gives you certain things. So if you throw a computer away, get a computer, or you want to wipe a disk that you're using, they've got some pretty high-tech stuff that you can just stick it in there, and it'll run a wipe and a disk and a rewrite and a scramble and encryption, and then it unscrambles and then it rewrites. So I'm sure she erased all her stuff. But the key is, did she erase all the backup servers? And she can erase emails that she sent to people. So the next thing, if they're really running an investigation, they want to find this, they want to go to every email address that she has on her email account, and they need to get warrants for all those email servers that she sent to any email to. So now they're going to have computers, they're going to have backups, they're going to have servers, they're going to have information out there. So who's ever doing this investigation, like I said, if they really want to find it, they just need to get her address book, they need to get her sent folder, and they need to figure out every email that she sent, who she sent it to, and then do a warrant on every one of those emails. And they don't need a warrant because they get to play the national security card, and they can just get all that information for free without going to anybody. But anybody that ever got an email from Clinton, they should be looking at what she sent, who was CC'd, who was copied that email, what server did it go through. Now we have a complete copy of it because it didn't just go through her server, it goes through another server. And again, I'm not sure what the State Department has as far as encryption on whether it has to go through certain scrambling or a top secret server or sensitivity server. There's all kind of different levels of information. But I kind of wanted to, if you're reading all the information about her emails and are they scrambled and did she erase them and are they really erased, hopefully this will give you a little bit better idea on kind of how this works out. All right, we'll go ahead and end that there.